2009, Ndamukong put up arguably the best college football season by a defensive player. Although being regularly double-teamed and triple-teamed, he still put up some of the craziest statistics we've ever seen by an interior defensive lineman. Suh finished the season with 85 total tackles, 24 TFLs, 12 sacks, 10 passes deflected, a blocked kick, and even an interception. His best game that year came against the Texas Longhorns in the Big 12 championship, where he put up 12 tackles, 7 TFLs, and 4.5 sacks. He completely destroyed Colt McCoy and the Texas offensive line, and they even almost upset the number 2 team in the country, largely because of Suh. Now let's get to what this video is about, why he didn't win the Heisman. Many people feel that Ndamukong deserved the Heisman because of his dominance and because of him essentially breaking the mold as to what a defensive tackle can do. Let's look at the other players that were up for Heisman that year. Mark Ingram, Toby Gerhart, Colt McCoy, Tim Tebow, and of course Ndamukong Suh. Of all the Heisman winners in the history of college football, there's really only been one guy that has done it primarily playing defense, and that's obviously Charles Woodson. Travis Hunter is the anomaly, obviously being a two-way cat, but there's not a lot of guys, man, that are getting votes as defensive players. You could really make the argument that Suh should have won it that year. The Heisman winner, Mark Ingram, rushed for 1,600 rushing yards, 17 touchdowns, which is a very solid year, but nothing too eye-popping. Alabama obviously went undefeated that year and won the Natty, and many people felt that he won because he was the best player on the best team. Finishing right behind Mark Ingram was Toby Gerhart of Stanford. He had a very good season, rushing for 1,800 yards and 28 touchdowns, which was arguably more productive than Ingram. And he was the runner-up by just 28 points in the Heisman voting, which was one of the closest in Heisman history. Up next was Colt McCoy. He finished with 3,500 passing yards, 27 TDs, and 12 interceptions. And he also added 350 rushing yards on the ground. And he took Texas to the national championship, where they lost to Alabama. Those three all finished higher than Ndamukong Suh in the voting. He finished 4th overall, and he was over 300 points behind Colt McCoy, who was in 3rd place. And then obviously Timmy T was in 5th, and he was quite a bit behind as well. The main reason Ndamukong Suh did not win the Heisman is because he was a defensive player, which is, again, like we said, rarely recognized in Heisman voting. Nebraska was also not in the title picture, which, whether fans like to admit it or not, that does take into account for the Heisman voters. He also did not play very flashy. He was just a dominant defensive tackle. He's not making crazy catches like a wide receiver, crazy across the body throws like a quarterback. He's not breaking out for a 90-yard rushing touchdown like Mark Ingram might have. He's just simply dominating. He's taking on double teams, triple teams, slipping blocks. He's wreaking havoc in the backfield, making coaches have nightmares before they play him. And this is unfortunately how this award and awards like this work, man. Look at the NFL MVP. How many guys can you name that have won the MVP as a defensive player? There's only 2, Alan Page and, of course, LT, who is arguably the greatest football player of all time, not just greatest defensive player. And that's kind of how these awards are starting to work, especially with the Heisman. You got to be an offensive player. Your team has got to be pretty good as well. You can't just have one or the other. You kind of have to have that mix of both. The value of the position that you play also matters as well. Obviously, people believe that the quarterback, because he touches the ball every play, he is the most valuable player on the field. And I would somewhat agree with that. I do think the guy who touches the ball every play is going to inherently have more value than a defensive tackle would, but that doesn't mean that he's more dominant than him. If the defensive tackle is literally changing the game, making you check out of things, making you spend 3 blockers just to block one guy, I think that needs to be accounted for. I don't think you can just say because he's an interior D lineman, he doesn't matter and he has no value. I think when you actually watch the game, you watch the tape, you kind of start to realize, like, man, this guy is a game-changing player. He is. It doesn't matter what position you play. If you truly are that once-in-a-lifetime type of a player, your film will speak for itself. Your stats will speak for itself. All the coaches that are scheming things up to get around him, all that stuff shows just how great of a player he was. Now that I'm fired up a little bit, boys, I'm angry. I'll tell you what, I'm angry. Let's get into the highlights. Because Ndamukong Suh was different. Alright, boys, here we are, head up with the center. Gonna rip right past him. Quarterback hurry will take it. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now, I don't mean to get too antsy, but I don't think you boys actually understand what I'm saying when I say 93 is one of the most dominant college football players of all time, boys. When 93 sees red, you are literally dead. Okay, here we are at the goal line. We're going to split the double team, and you know we're in there. Good grief. Let's get another one. We're still at the goal line. Give him safety. Give him a safety. I think he got out. Watching Ndamukong Suh, yeah, I just called him Indominant. Watching him in the NFL is honestly, it's pure poetry, okay? When you see a guy that's 6'4", 310 pounds of twisted steel, you know, just protecting his teammates and just stomping on people, you know, hitting people after the whistle, it kind of fires me up a little bit, to be honest with you. Having a guy like that in your squad, you know, it's different, man. He's the kind of guy that if you get backed into a corner in an alley, if 93 is with you, nothing's happening, boys, okay? This young fella is going to go ahead and pick up whoever's messing with you, you know, choke slam him into the ground, maybe stomp on him, maybe take his mouth guard out, talk some noise. You know, I stuttered a little bit there because I'm so scared of 93 myself, but here we are stemming him up a little bit in the backfield. There we go, TFL. Yes, sir. You just can't block him, boys. There's nothing you can do. Here we go. Let's line something up for him. Give him a little pass rush. Oh, little club route. We missed. Dang it. George Washington was once quoted as saying he would like to have as much testosterone as Ndamukong Suh. However, he also said this would be the downfall of our great nation due to the nature of the beast as we get a 2-for-1 with the block. But in all seriousness, boys, that's going to do it for today. Just teaching you a little bit of a lesson on why 93 was so great. And we'll be back with more. I love you.